Yo, what it is, you know what it is. It's your man King Musa. Welcome to the Cheat Sheet. This is a podcast slash radio talk show. We're here to decode successful creators, professors, and business owners. But joining me today, we actually have somebody who's bigger than all those people to me. Um, he helps me with a lot. I'm not going to go into all of that. But I'm your host King Musa, and today we're going to be diving into the insight of the Cheat Sheet. Right. So to find out a little bit more about this show, I love to interview professors and professionals just to find out a little bit more of how we can, us as students, is who I mean we can figure out life with their experiences because I'm not trying to make the same mistakes. Okay. Joining me today, we have Dr. Andrew Dees. Oh, I have to pause every time.
Nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you. This is our assistant vice president and assistant vice president of student affairs and dean of students. Do you have to tell that every time you go to place?
APP and Dean of Students. It can get to be a mouthful after a while.
What does that mean?
It means a lot. My primary, so it's a complicated position, but my primary role is student wellness and well-being. So that is my primary purpose here at SFA, is to do everything I can to help students be successful.
That's a beautiful answer. They need to tell us that. So I'm gonna actually make this a little simple. My first question for you is, can you share a little bit about your educational background and how does that influence your approach of being dean of students?
Sure. So I have 3 degrees. I just got my third almost a year ago, and that's a lot. I got my undergrad in social work, and I had went to my undergrad at University of Kansas, and wanted to be a high school social studies teacher. And then quickly realized you had to work with high school students to do that, and that's not how I'm programmed. High school student. So for those K through 12 teachers, I got a lot of love for you, but I couldn't do it, and I quickly recognized that.
What was about the high school students that you couldn't? You have the mindset on it, like you came in ready.
There are a lot, and they're just a lot, and it's frowned upon, to strike them because that's called child abuse. So it was just, and it really was because my sister, one of my sisters was an elementary ed major, and so everybody just assumed I was going to go into education. So I realized that wasn't for me, and wait for it, I'm about to age myself. The course catalog, which is now fully online, was an actual catalog, like about an inch thick catalog where you go and look through all of the different majors that an institution had. I know I'm old.
You went through a book to figure out what age?
It was like an old J.C. Penney's catalog, which you still don't even know that reference. I got
we had layaway for J.C. Penney.
Yeah, everybody loves layaway.
The most I can tell you about J.C.
It's a phone book. It looked like a phone book. And so
your classes.
You had to go and look at the classes, find a major, all of that, and I landed on social work because my uncle at the time was a social worker, and I applied to get into the school, and it was a match made in heaven. Like, it felt like they had done the entire degree just for me. I was one of 2 guys in a class, and
yeah,
it's not a male heavy field.
Yes. I'm asking a lot of questions about these yeses. What gravitated towards you? What captured you about your social work?
People.
Okay.
Like that is my core. If I can make somebody's life even 1% better, then I feel like I've accomplished what I was put on.
Don't you feel like that's so messy though? Like, I'm not gonna capture you. I've seen my stories like that, and I know some other people have worse stories. So how do you handle all of that? Like, what? Okay, I don't know if I'm asking the right question. We're gonna be nice. But so how did that, having that background, that first degree, what did you grab a social work degree as your second one?
I got a master's in higher education.
Okay.
At the time I graduated in 2003, I had 2 different practicums. I worked doing leadership development with high school students, and then my other practicum was working with at-risk middle school and high school students.
Okay.
So other end of the spectrum where a lot of horrible things was happening to them.
Yeah.
And I did individual therapy as well. I had at most 6 clients at one time. At the time, it was just way too much reality for me. I worked where my practicum was. I worked in a city in Kansas where there was a federal prison, and that as the inmates would get out, they would feed into the city, and that comes with a lot of issues. And it was just a lot. I was a sponge back then. I took everything in, and working with some middle school and high schoolers that had just some horrible lives was way too much for me at the time. So when I was an undergrad, I was an RA. Loved being an RA, and so I was like, well, that looks like a lot of fun. Let's go to grad school.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I moved to North Carolina and went to grad school.
Okay. So that's the second one. How did you even get back to Texas?
That's a complicated story. So I graduated with my master's in 05, and then I started working full time. So let's see, I was in North Carolina, and then I moved up to. So this is a story about resilience. So this is why it's what I did my research on for my dissertation. In January of 06, I got recruited to go be an HR rep at a startup home automation company.
Okay.
2 months later, we got to the office and looked like we'd been robbed, like it'd been ransacked. Come to find out, the owner of the company had embezzled everything from his previous company, and so we all left that day unemployed. And so I had left my career to go and do this, and I was unemployed. So then I was in a temporary position at UNC Chapel Hill, and then for some personal relationship reasons, which is a whole nother episode, decided that, Oprah used to say, I refuse to accept that this is what my life is.
I can't take a note.
Because of some personal things, went to work that day and said, I refuse to accept that this is what my life is supposed to be. So I applied for jobs an entire day. 2 weeks later, I flew to Philly for an interview. 2 weeks later, after that, I was moving to Philly. And I worked at Temple for a couple of years. And then at the Art Institute, where it was so horrible, I quit without having another job because we treated our students like not the way they should have been treated. And it was an art student. They were paying $95,000 to get a fashion design degree. Yeah. And I was there for a year and a half, and we had 3 students die by suicide in the year and a half that I was there. And we weren't doing anything about it. We outsourced our counseling just to save money. So I quit without having a job, but the Lord provides. A month later, I was moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. I worked there for a while. Then I moved to Savannah. And then in 2019,
grabbing your hand, taking you everywhere.
It is 2016. I started my doctoral program at Georgia Southern. 2019, I moved to Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona, where come to find out my boss was a little cray-cray.
You're gonna find me.
She eliminated my position, and so I was unemployed. This was 2020.
What is eliminate?
This is when COVID was starting.
Okay.
In an effort in her, the way she phrased it, to reduce, to save money budgetarily, she eliminated my position. So let's see, well, I'm almost 43 now. So a 40-year-old man, I moved home to Kansas to live with my mom. Right. And so
I can barely do that. I'm 21.
There was a lot of conversations my mom and I had.
Oh, wow.
But then I had an opportunity to work at a 911 communication center in Kansas. And so when you would call 911, you would hear my voice. And I was there for a year and got to say, like, I know the work I do now saves lives. Yeah. But literally saving lives. Like, every time we would do CPR over the phone and the person survived, they would do this little heart on the wall. So I have 9 hearts at home of people that I saved.
It's a real superhero, bro. I told y'all, this is my best friend. I'm trying to.
Girls wear capes.
Hey, man. Some of them, never mind. I'm going to be nice today. Okay, so we at the police station. When did SFA send that email says, congratulations, you're accepted?
So, interesting story. I had applied. I my first, because if you don't know how to pronounce Nacogdoches,
Yeah.
you're gonna mispronounce it. And so I was on my first interview, and I'm like, please don't ask me about this town because I'm gonna like Nacog, like. And one of the committee members pronounced it, and I was like, okay, I got it.
Once you hear once, you
I got it. So I interviewed. I came on campus. I loved it. And I actually got the job offer when I was in Philly for another on-campus interview. I had just gotten done with the on-campus interview, and it was horrible.
Oh,
The boss, the person I would have worked for, was so egotistical. I could tell in the first 5 minutes I just didn't fit. And so I got back to my hotel, and the VP of Student Affairs at the time here called me and offered me the job. I accepted right away.
yeah.
A couple, 2, 3 weeks later, I was moving down here.
Welcome to Nacogdoches, Texas.
Nacogdoches.
Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, were there any specific experiences during your academic journey that shaped your understanding of student needs and support? I know we went through a long list of things, but getting out here to SFA, what was the needs and supports that really like popped out?
I think it's really been my time as a dean of students. So I've been a dean for 6 years now at different institutions, and really working with students where they're like, life is going to happen, and for some life happens a lot in pretty critical ways.
Yeah.
So I think being a dean of students is the best job you could ever have, because I get to meet students that are in a horrible place in their life, and I get to help set them up and bring them back.
Yeah.
You know, the ultimate reward is seeing them walk across the stage at graduation and know that I played some part. It's hokey, it's cheesy, but
No, it's not. It's real, y'all, because I'm a living witness to tell y'all, like, there should have been time. I should have been out of here. And we're in meetings every day, like, focused in. I love it, but I'm sorry for interrupting. Yes.
But it's my job. It's not to tell you not to do anything. I'm not going to tell you not to drink. I'm not going to tell you not to smoke. That's your mom's job.
Yeah.
We're going to process through why you're doing it, and I'm going to hold you accountable because you made the decision to do that. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be one of your biggest advocates. There was a student that I had when I was at Charlotte that I suspended because in the first 3 months that he was there, he had couple 2-3 drug violations and a couple 2-3 alcohol violations.
Yes.
I saw him at Target a year later, and he came up and thanked me for suspending him, because behaviors like that will result in 2 places: the grave or jail. And that's the shot across the bow that he needed. And so he came across Target, gave me this big old hug, and said, "Thank you for suspending me." That's the wake-up call that I needed to get my act together.
Yeah.
That's a success story.
Yeah.
They're not all like that, and there's a this job is really hard sometimes.
Okay.
Like students in horrible situations, and I'm responsible here at SFA, and have been in my last couple of institutions, of managing student debts and engaging with the family, and it's really hard. But you keep that in context, and when you have those great experiences, it helps balances everything out.
True. That explains a lot. What guideline principles define your leadership style as dean of students?
I like to have fun. Everything I just said, my job is way too serious for me to take myself seriously. And so, I mean, you've come into my office, I'm blasting music, singing horribly off tune. But that's how I keep myself centered.
Yes.
I'm fun at work. If I'm not having fun at work, then why am I here?
Man.
I don't make enough money to not be able to have fun at work. And so,
we are frowning at each other, sitting at these uncomfortable desks. Like, he don't even sit at his desk. Like, his tall self standing.
that's right. It keeps me awake in the afternoons after I stuff my face.
Yeah.
But I want to have fun, and I want people to see me as a person. I'm a senior level administrator, and so there's this assumption that I'm a robot, and I go into the closet and plug myself in at the end of the day. And so, wearing jeans, I'm cognizant of what I have on at work. You've probably never seen me in a tie. because I got feedback a couple years ago that people are intimidated.
Yeah.
I'm loud and I'm tall and I have a deep voice, so I'm automatically intimidated.
Yeah.
And we don't want to approach you because you have a tie on, you have a suit on. And so I didn't like wearing them anyway.
Yeah.
And so it was just an excuse to not do it because it makes me more approachable. So Friday is tomorrow. I'm going to be in jeans and a hoodie, or jeans and a t-shirt, because I want to be approachable to students.
This is our dean of students, baby. Like, who thinks about these things? Be nice. Be nice. I'm sorry. I told y'all this is my best friend. This is like literally me talking to my best friend. Like, this is not an interview like y'all think this is. This is another therapy session. So as dean, how do you advocate for students' needs and well-beings within the academic institution?
SFA has dedicated so many resources to y'all's wellness and
They
well-being.
don't know nothing.
No, and that's a problem that's fixable. The majority of work that I do, and I have such an amazing team, that the team does, you all will never know, because we move in a way that we are removing barriers from you, and you're able to access things. With the creation of the Health and Wellness Hub, that is innovative, and this institution, all in all, invested over $2 million in that facility and upgrading that facility. With us going into the UT system, we have access to so many more resources that we couldn't have afforded before.
I don't understand. And I'm barely using a piece of it.
Barely, you're right.
Barely.
But you have homework that you're going to have done by next week.
Yes, we will.
That's right. And so how I advocate is it's you are my responsibility. So I have 10,888 children that are my responsibility.
Oh, you even got a dog.
And a cat. Don't forget the cat.
Oh, yes.
And so it's my job to help you navigate the system.
Mhm.
I'm a first generation student, so me and my sister were the first ones to get an undergraduate degree. In my entire family, there's 2 other people that have a master's. I'm the only one in my entire bloodline to have a doctorate. And so the first generation experience is something that is at my
terrifying. Every time you get a fee for something.
Yes.
You get a fee for something. Oh, man.
To keep these lights on.
I'm saying, I'm like, bro, what do we pay to step on campus?
It's a privilege, not a right. So how do I advocate? It's when a student comes in and says, I'm having this issue, I try not to fix it because I want you to be able to fix it. Yeah. And I'm going to walk beside you. So I will walk beside you. There are times that I need to walk in front of you, and I will happily do that because I like being a disruptor and making waves. But
it's silence in the crowd, boy. Not a single knock. Just be quiet. Be quiet. Okay. This is not therapy. I'm listening.
So I'm just saying, it's removing those barriers.
Yeah.
Because college can be confusing.
Can we slow that down if you don't mind? The misconception that I have is, why is the dean of students having to disrupt these barriers? Like, these are people who are coming to make their life better out of high school, right? So most of them are just now experiencing this freedom, who are still trying to take care of responsibilities, and at the same time can't even keep up with their own fill in the blank. You see what I'm saying? So the mindset you have is beautiful, right? But when it comes into like all these departments and all these like organizations that you're seeing that you're having to go in and say, hey, like, let's do it this way, let's do it this way, let's do it this way. Why is there so many barriers? Like, what?
We're a state institution. We get federal money.
Okay.
So
okay.
By federal guidelines, we have to abide by state guidelines. That's not to say that all of our barriers are because of that, but there's a lot of things we have to do a certain way because that's what the government tells us to do. Doesn't make it right, but it makes it reality.
Hey, that's authority, and we respect it.
Exactly, and we need the state money, we need the federal money, or we wouldn't exist and that's every institution is like that. And so there are things here that maybe, I can remove that barrier, or I could tell you how to go around it. Or that barrier's not going anywhere, but there are other avenues that you could take. So throw it in a reverse, take a right at that intersection, and completely circumvent it altogether. I'm stubborn enough that there is a solution to every problem. And I'm okay running face first into the wall, because then I know that wall is there, so I won't run into it the next time.
I love that.
And I know how to navigate. Like, I've worked at 7 different institutions. I know how to navigate things. And, first year students don't, and even students in general. And so that's why when I talk at orientation, it's like, if you don't know where to go, come and talk to me. I may not be able to solve your problem, but I can tell you who to go to solve that problem.
That's most of the time you just have to ask. Like 99.9% of the time you just have to ask. You just have to ask. Like it's crazy. In times of crisis and challenging situations, how do you approach it? Approach managing and supporting students effectively? Like, what is your approach to you mentioned fun.
They're going to happen. They're going to happen a lot. The first thing is to keep a calm head, and depending on the breadth and depth of the crisis. There's university crises or crises with a student. It's identifying what is the issue. First, remembering to breathe. There are very few things that are going to be life-threatening, and so let's take a second to breathe. I know that it seems a lot right now, but you've got me and a whole battalion of people at this institution that want to help everybody be successful. So we have to identify what the crisis is, and it's triage. Like, if you break your arm, we need to get you to the hospital. Don't come and talk to me. Talk to me after you get your arm patched up. And so accessing the correct resources first, but sometimes there's an emotional break, which can oftentimes be more damaging and more long lasting. And we've got people for that. We have a care team here. That are mental health first aid trained. So there are mental health first responders. We've got a ridiculous counseling staff that is just probably
the layers. They're like an onion. Like they don't play.
Taste, yes.
They don't play. Like, you think you might not be getting I'm gonna let you finish.
We have counseling with a lot of different layers, and there are so many different resources that we can activate to help a student be successful.
That's beautiful. So taking that deep breath and then following the right delegation. That's amazing.
Because a crisis for you may not be a crisis for me, and a crisis for me, and so vice versa. So you have to look. I don't treat students equally. I treat them equitably, because everybody needs something different. But the goal, the finish line, is a degree, is graduation. Some need a lot of pushing behind. Some don't need anything at all. So you have to tailor that experience to the student. But the big thing is the student has to come and ask. Asking for help is scary.
Yeah.
I'm a 42, almost 43-year-old adult, and I'm horrible at it.
Yeah.
Because it makes you vulnerable. But there's a lot of joy and a lot of growth that can come on the other side of that vulnerability, and that takes courage. But there's a lot of benefits that come from it. So you just have to ask for help.
The words you're speaking right now, when I tell you, there are some people whose hearts are beating because you're saying some scary things, but okay. How do you encourage students' involvement on campus activities and community service?
The one thing that's going to help, well, there's a lot of things that are going to help you be successful. And this is partly what I did my research on my dissertation on. Connection is what is going to keep you here, and is what is going to help you be successful. So that's in connection to a radio station, to a fraternity and sorority. And fraternity and sororities get a bad rap at every institution, but they don't help that bad rap sometimes. But any involvement in an organization, going to a Bible study, joining the LMB or joining the buzzsaws, like any kind of connection to your academic life, but also your college experience life. You're living on campus, your GPA is going to be higher. You're going to be more successful. You're going to progress at a greater rate. So there's so many benefits to getting
in it to
connected.
win it.
And some people want to go to class and go home. They'll be successful, but when you get up 20 years from now, did you have the best experience you could have? I'm not saying party like it's 1999 every night, but there's
What you pay for.
yes, and there's 300 organizations here, and if we don't have an organization you want, find 5 of your buddies and start the organization. That connection to your institution, you're going to love your time here. You're going to be more successful here, and then when you leave, you're going to give your money back to us. So it's the circle of life.
Yeah.
Because the more happy and successful graduates we produce, everybody wins. The institution wins, you win, and then when you give us your money back, we win again.
Yeah. Good job. We like that. So how would you encourage them to get involved?
You have to get out of your comfort zone and go and try something new. That you're talking advice is go try something new. That's go play sand volleyball. Try sushi. When we're raised with our parents and our family's value set.
Correct.
So I grew up hating seafood because my mom hated seafood. I still don't like seafood, but I love sushi, which is still kind of seafood, but that's for another time. So that's a part of coming to an institution and being on your own, is figuring out, are these values that I have my values, or are they just what and it's fine if they are.
Yeah.
But take a second to assess them.
Okay.
Maybe it's, when we're looking at the 7 dimensions of wellness, your intellectual, your physical, your social, your intercultural, all of that, take a good self-assessment. Is this who I am? And if it's not, change it. You're an adult. You can do what you want. You've heard me say, as long as it's not against the law, it's not against policy, do what you want. It is your life. And
he has told me those words for weeks on end. You're an adult. You can do what you want. And I'm sitting there, but nothing. You're an adult. Set your boundaries. Do what you need to do. Shocking.
That's scary, though. It's scary to go and make those decisions, because then they're your decisions, for better or worse. If it's a great decision, awesome. If it was a horrible decision, oops. But you learn more from the oops than you do the awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I've made horrible decisions and had massive failures, but that has contributed to where I am today and the person that I am today.
And it's just going to keep getting better. It's going to keep getting better.
I'm going to keep screwing up.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, I screw up. Be like, yeah, could have done that differently. That's how we learn. That's how we grow.
There's so many people are failed messing up. Like, I know I tell you all the time, I don't like to fail. I don't like to mess up. But, like, Thomas Edison, my man failed how many times? For just one light bulb? One light bulb? Okay. So can you share another success story of a student who overcome challenges with the support provided by you?
Give you probably one of the happiest moments of my career. So this would have been like 2016. I was in Georgia, and I had a student that chose to consume some magic brownies. Had a bad reaction to said magic brownies and ended up assaulting 2 of our police officers. And so in the midst of, this is back when I did full-time conduct. And so in the midst of the conversation, like I try to get to know students, like, who are you? What do you want to do with your life? And he had disclosed that at some point in the recent past, he had made it to Hollywood on American Idol. And so if you want, that means you're going pretty far on American Idol. So he could sing, he could write songs. And so a part of, because he admitted, it's like, this isn't me, I don't do that. So as part of his sanctioning was write a song, because he had a younger brother, telling your younger brother what you learned from this and how that this isn't who you are as a person. So write a song and perform it. So I was like, I don't know how long it takes to write and perform a song. Yeah. So I gave him a couple months. So he comes back. His mom and daddy are there. I invite the chief of police, the 2 officers that he assaulted. I was an assistant dean at the time. So the dean of students, I invited the dean of students and the VP. His little brother played the guitar and he sang, and there was not a dry eye in the house. And it was because it was this, I'm human, I screwed up. And that was a decision that doesn't dictate who I am as a person.
Yes.
It was crazy. It gives me goosebumps even talking about it. Everybody was crying. I was crying like a baby because, I mean, that's what I do. That's the purpose of student affairs.
Real accountability right there. That's real accountability right there. Oh, okay. Y'all hear that? SFA, this is what we have in the house. This is what you have access to. Access to. So what are you doing? Complaining. Oh. So can you highlight a program or initiative aimed at enhancing student overall development during their time in the institution or here at SFA?
I would give another shout out to the Health and Wellness Hub. In that facility, we have counseling services, health services, student outreach and support, student wellness, the lumberjack, which is now the lumberjack pantry, not the food pantry, because the pantry has recently merged. So for those pregnant parenting students out there, we have formula, we have diapers, all of that to help you out.
Frozen food too.
Frozen food, we got frozen food, we got
groceries for you for free.
For free. And so the purpose of the hub is you can go and get the entire you taken care of. Because if there's something emotional going on, that may mean you may not be eating like you should, or vice versa. If you've got something physical going on, that's going to impact your emotional. So look at the 7 dimensions of wellness. If I'm sick all the time, how can I be successful in the class? Because I'm sick all the time.
Yeah.
Stressed, me, I eat a bag of Doritos like it's my job if I'm stressed, and that's not the healthiest thing. But I think that's probably the initiative I'm the most proud of. And we hit all, when you're driving in a city and it's all green lights.
Yeah.
It was all green lights. This institute, and I say, y'all, students won't ever know, but this institution has invested so much in wellness and well-being of students. Like the renovation of the building, the programming money, it's just everything. And there are plans to continue to invest in that.
We're not talking about the athletic department. Like this is not the, if you're an athlete, you get to go through all this training and check-ins and stuff like that. No. It's not for just them. This is for everybody. And I'm hurt just now finding out about all 7 sides that I can get checked into, because he's right. If one part's being messed with, if you don't feel like being active on campus, what's going to make you be active in your classroom? What's going to make you active around your friends and stuff like that? It affects all parts, but yet we're afraid of, we speak up about this one part, that all these other things are gonna, end up. Yeah. Okay. Can you share how these initiatives has contributed to creating a more inclusive campus environment for our students?
It is everyone's job at this institution to make everyone feels welcome. We all have 8 million different identities, and it's my job as a senior level administrator. It's your job as a student. You want to be whoever you are, Ruby. My value set doesn't have anything to do with it. Is the 10,000 some odd students, the however many faculty and staff. We're all, and it's not hokey, we're all part of the same family, and that's the Lumberjack. And so
we all represent each other. You hear brothers and sisters.
And we all have one thing in common. You know what that is? We're human beings.
Yeah.
Everything else is noise. We are all here on this planet trying to do our best. And we are taught to treat and love our neighbor. And that's what we're supposed to do, regardless of whatever identities, anything that they subscribe to.
That's all I can say is your unalienable rights. Life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. all those other things. Like, you're supposed to be able to feel cared about, thought about,
And let
listen
people be
to.
themselves. Like, why do you care what your neighbor's doing? Let them be themselves. Let them do pink spiky hair. Like, how does that impact you? Like, it doesn't.
That's the high school mindset. That's it's the high school mindset. They bring it right over here, and I've had conversations about it, and it's the same reactions that I get every time. It's oh, these friends group used to talk about this group, and so I don't want to be associated. Those people aren't here.
Well, but they are. We like to think that bullying stops when we graduate high school, and it
Okay.
doesn't. Bullying, um, and I've been here 2.5 years. We've had some pretty significant bullying situations, and we've got some keyboard warriors that love to harass and bully people, and that's not what we need right now. Like, there's enough stuff happening in the world, locally, regionally, internationally, nationally. We don't need to contribute.
Here's the main question. What is the ideal college mentality? How do you survive college with all this stuff going on? Like, how do you apply all the things you've seen happen? And you will say, if a group of students are actually coming into college, build these mindsets, have this mentality.
Try new things, make mistakes, and forgive yourself. You're going to make horrible decisions. You're going to make great decisions. Your life is going to happen at some point, and invariably you're going to go into the ditch at some point, but that's okay. That's what you're supposed to come to college and make mistakes. That's why a lot of us in student affairs have jobs.
Yeah.
You're supposed to come. Have you ever seen Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Okay, so the dinosaurs were testing the fences to see where are the fences, the boundaries. You're supposed to come to college and do that. You're supposed to go and try sushi and be like, no, that ain't for me. But then come and be like, I just joined the backgammon club and it has changed my life. That's what you're supposed to do. Make new friends. Most of our students come from the DFW and Houston and East Texas area, so you might have a lot of your high school friends here, which is phenomenal. But make new friends. When we're in high school, we're K through 12, we're friends of convenience. We're in the same classes, our lockers are right next to each other, so we have to be friends. Like, that's just how it is. Come to college, you don't have to be friends. You can choose to not be friends with someone, and that's the great part.
Yes.
The great part about being an adult is, no, I'm not going to.
Person will not exist in your life ever again. They're gone.
I don't want to eat shrimp. No, I don't want to try it. No, I don't care.
Shrimp in your life again.
So you have to come and try new things, make new friends, get your heart broken, all of that. That's part of the entire experience.
You're telling people to run towards fear. You said the 3 most fearful things, and you said that's the mentality I was gonna have. So how does somebody actually absorb that and actually see, like, it's okay for me to have new friends? It's okay for me to try something that I never thought, like this. How do you even bite that bullet? Because half the time, like, you're not trained to do that.
It's worth it, and it's worth it, and it takes courage. I never would have gotten to where I was if I didn't try new things, and if I didn't have the universe and the right people in my life setting me up for success. I would never be, and I can name the one person, Dr. George Lewis. He's president at Clayton State University. I would not be where I am right now without him. Justine Hollingshead, my first supervisor in grad school. I would not be where I am now without her.
What does that mean? Who do
they professionally raised me. My mama, whom I love more than my luggage, raised me as a human being, and the best human being. She's not perfect and she's annoying sometimes. The best human being on the planet. She raised me as a person. Justine, Dr. Lewis, they raised me as a professional. So to help me figure out what my non-negotiables were in a job, to help me figure out what I expected from a supervisor, how I lead, my communication style. Off-putting to some, but I'm
still here.
I'm a little long in the tooth to change it. So,
Here.
yes.
Okay. Final question before we're done. I appreciate y'all for tuning in this whole time. What is your vision for the future of student affairs at SFA?
We are on a precipice of greatness here at SFA. We've got a brand new president that's coming in that is immensely qualified. And then, so we've got an interim VP right now. We're going to have a permanent vice president in the next 6 months. There is a desire to take SFA into the future and to evolve SFA. We've got some academic programs that are blowing up right now: aviation, construction management, engineering.
Crazy, huh?
And we're almost an HSI, which is a Hispanic Serving Institution. We're 3 percentage points away.
Okay.
I sit on our strategic enrollment management planning committee, and the conversations that need to happen are happening, and there's going to be some amazing things. Like SFA 5 years from now will not look anything like we are now.
I'm so excited. Like, I'm stuck here. I'm gonna be here till I'm 30. So we want to get that doctorate degree. Like
Come work in student affairs.
I don't know about all that. I just want to at least say I'm a doctor. Well, Dr. Andrew, I really appreciate you for taking your time out to have this interview with me. Is there anything you would like to say? Any last shout outs, announcements, or PSAs you want to give to the students?
Yes, you got to ask for help. I will harp on that. There are so many different resources here at SFA and whatever institution you're going to go at that are waiting for you to come and ask for help.
Waiting.
They
get paid. They're just sitting down, waiting for you to walk in. Walk in.
Say, hey, I don't know something. Can you help me? That's what I need all of your 10,000 peers to do, is walk into my office and say, I don't know this. Can you help me? And the world will change.
Wow. Y'all just heard them wise words, them golden gems. I don't even know all the things I'm supposed to be saying for that, but y'all have heard the truth, okay? This is from your dean of students. There's no other. Do you have any more questions? Is there anything else you're wondering about? Because guess what? He's upstairs. So I appreciate you, Dr. Dawes.
You almost made it.
I tried so hard, but then I saw it.